YouTube. It is Terry Talks, and it is, I still consider it Saturday, but it's actually Sunday. It is 12:26 a.m. Sunday morning, which I still consider Saturday, like I just said. But anyway, I wanted to make a video. I wanted to get to this earlier, but I could not. Parental responsibilities, household responsibilities, folding clothes, doing laundry, stuff like that. So, yeah, here I am after midnight. I wanted to make this video. I just ain't had nothing in particular. I just kind of just wanted to talk about random stuff. For those who don't know me, I am a very, I don't think the word is sentimental, very, what is that word? I say it all the time. I like to look back on the past a lot. I like to think about my childhood, especially the 80s. I love the 80s. The whole feel of it, the whole, just everything about the 80s. Growing up in my old neighborhood, my old friends, the music I listened to, the soundtrack to my childhood, everything is like the 80s. It's like I put things in categories. I don't know if you all do this, but certain periods of my life have a certain general overall theme or feeling. Like when I think about the 80s, I can think about, I feel a certain way. Like it's almost like you're there and it's this feeling, and it captures like the essence of how you felt in the 80s and what you were doing. It's kind of like when you watch an old TV show. You know the whole storyline to it. Like if I hear the theme to Miami Vice, if I hear Friday Night Videos, if I hear any of those theme songs or whatever, automatically I'm back there. Somebody was talking about that one day, and I think they said it's called like a memory stamp. Music can take you exactly back to where you were and how you felt. It's like 80s, Michael Jackson, Prince, everything, automatically back to the 80s. It's just a feeling. I can't put my finger on what it is. It's just, it's kind of sometimes almost spooky that your mind can take you right back to that point and some of the memories and how you felt. A lot of times I just like to sit in that for a minute, to sit in how you felt, like just everything that was going on. My friends, places I went, things we did. And I guess everybody feels a little bit nostalgic. That's the word I was looking for, nostalgic about growing up. And I'm sure everybody has this, but I just wanted to talk about it tonight because I'm always nostalgic. I'm always talking about, the 80s. Me and my husband, we'll talk about the 80s and the music. I'm forever listening to 80s music or any kind of music that reminds me of it. I'm forever listening to that. I think I'm going to do a my top 10 80s songs that like I feel like were like, maybe I'll probably have to do 20 because I don't think 10 is enough to capture like my favorite songs of the 80s. TV shows, just getting up early watching cartoons. I don't know, just everything about the 80s I love. TV shows. Yeah, just, it's so nostalgic. It's just, and in the world we live in, sometimes you just want to go back. You just want to be there and be present in that feeling, like the warm fuzzies. I mean, yeah, bad things happened then, and you just take that as part of the experience. Bad things did happen, but I love in my mind when I can pinpoint exactly what I was doing, where I was at, who I was with, And it just evokes those feelings. It just evokes that, oh gosh, yeah, that's so refreshing. And I think I can do that like for each decade. Like even the 70s, I can remember, coming home from school and, interactions I had with school, my peers, my friends, places we went as well. But it's something about the 80s, man. I think at my age, I think that's the time that we came alive. Like we were conscious enough to savor it and enjoy it. Like different, I keep going back to music because I think just like any good movie, and in this case, movies would be our memories, have a good soundtrack, and some of my friends, people and places that I think shaped me. And you go back to like kind of like that foundation of what you felt. I just love the 80s. I love it. Maybe I never grew up. But I also like the 90s. The 90s, coming of age, first part of the 90s, I'm 17. The excitement building of being a senior, 1990 to be exact. Applying to colleges, getting into colleges. What's funny is that high school itself was like a blur. Like I don't think high school wasn't it for me. I wasn't bullied. I didn't have a particular bad time in the 90s or in high school. Well, no, not the 90s. Actually, I started school in 1986. So let me stop. I was a freshman in 1986. But I graduated in 90. So the year of 90 is what I was speaking of. The excitement built, just the anticipation of going away. And then the 90s brought a whole new level of being, I guess, an adult, being away from home. I loved the 90s too. I love college. I'll say that. College is what I loved. I was at downstate Illinois, ISU, Illinois State University, and I absolutely loved it. If you have never had it, there is nothing like the college experience. Nothing like it. It's that feeling of independence, of just freedom and meeting new people, meeting new things. Not meeting new things, learning new things. And I'll tell you why it was special for me. Okay, let me get my chair. I'll tell you why it was special for me. College was special for me because I grew up in an urban area, south side of Chicago, born and raised. I went to an all-black grammar school, all-black high school, and I was this girl who loved, like, growing up, and maybe a lot of us did, I loved England, and I loved because most of the music from the 80s, that kind of synth pop, and that's the whole sound, and the people I loved, U2 and Wham, and I don't know, any of them songs that I loved. I was always into the alternative kind of new wave sound. Now don't get me wrong, I love me some R&B, I love me some New Edition and all that, but during that 80s, it was like, that was like what was coming out. So when I went away to college, I'm just like, okay, finally I'll be around like other people who might like this kind of music. And I don't know if I was just saying, well, it's gonna be white people there and they're gonna like this type of music. Maybe I was, but I don't think I was. I think I was just kind of like, yeah, I'm gonna be, we're gonna be playing NXS and Wham all in the dorms, and it's gonna be in it. And I don't know what I was thinking, but I guess I thought like that. I wanted a different experience than I had. I had never been around any other type of people or people with different type of experiences. I had never been around that. So that was one reason why I was excited. Another reason is that I'm an only child. So um, most people have a hard time going away to school and just being away from family, being away from a familiar environment. I was ready to go so bad. I was ready to go. Because like I said, high school was uneventful for me. I didn't, it wasn't a bad experience again. It's just that first of all, I had to travel like probably 45 minutes to my high school. I lived southeast in Chicago. I lived near the lake, South Shore area. And I had to go to school. Had to take two buses, one really long bus ride, all the way west, southwest. And I hated that commute. So not having like resources to like, nobody was dropping me off at school. Nobody was picking me up from school. Nobody was taking me extracurricular events because nobody in my household had a car. So if I wanted to do any of those things, it was on the bus. It was, so I felt like I didn't experience high school to the fullest. So that's why I'm kind of like, yeah, high school was good. I met some good people, but it was uneventful. So I was ready to get out and meet people and finally be able to, mingle. So when I get there, I'm automatically in love with the independence, with the different people. So I had no problem going to college. I had no problem at all. I was packing my bags. I think I had a little boyfriend that did he come down? I can't remember. Went down with me the first night, so I didn't have to travel there by myself. I think I had a trunk, like one of those trunks. Moved in. My roommate wasn't there yet. Well, maybe she was. I'm old. I can't remember. But yeah, it was an experience that I so love. I still treasure college to this day. Because when any of us, when we get older, I was looking good in college. I mean, I was cute. And when you at that age, you didn't know you was cute. You had insecurities and, but I was living my best life. I mean, so anyway, getting back to the 90s, just like the 80s and every decade has a feel, the 90s, it was all the grunge scene, like Pearl Jam and Nirvana and Smashing Pumpkins, going to parties. So that kind of music and those kind of things kind of like shaped my 90s. Like that's the soundtrack. Like I hear a Pearl Jam song, I hear like one of them grunge songs or whatever. It's like, yeah, I remember. And I hung out with all kinds of people. I like all kinds of music. But that was my favorite. Like, there's something about that. Just that whole... I don't know what attracts me to music. I don't know the parts of the music. Like, if I know harmony, but like, if it's a certain chord or certain things. There's this other group out that I love, and they're called Future Islands. They sound just like the 80s. Okay, that was a commercial for them, and I listen to them a lot. I love it. But so I feel that I hear one of the songs, it's like I'm right there. I'm at that house party. I'm cute. I can wear a size 4, 6, 8, whatever it is. Now that was a long time ago, 4, 6, 8. So I'm counting by twos now. 2, 4, 6, 8. Okay, you don't need to know. Anyway, so I love that too. It puts me in a soft spot for college. I was trying to convince my kids to go to college. My son actually did. I think he liked it. I do, but he had to leave and go back. I don't know if he's gonna go back now. But my daughter, no, she didn't like it too much. She went to my alma mater. It just wasn't for her. And that's okay. That's okay. College was for everybody. We grew up different. Like I said, I was the only child, always independent. Always, always, always had to do stuff by myself, for myself. So going away and being away from home was not a problem for me. It was not a problem for me at all. I loved it. It was so much independence and so many things to explore. And after that, I think the 90s was like the last significant time that gives me like the warm fuzzies. Like, I don't remember the 2000s too well. I do not. I do a little, but not a lot. And there's nothing really significant, except for the birth of my baby girl, who's now an adult, was born in 2000. But other than that, there was nothing significant in the 2000s. Because I think I was a fully functioning adult in the 2000s. Like, being 30, hitting 30 in the 2000s. It's just all about, I'm talking about fun stuff. And don't let me forget the 70s. Like, that is also a soundtrack to my childhood too. Like, when I hear Luther Vandross, any of them songs, 1,000 kisses, well, you get the drift. Or a house is not a home unless there's two. Well, I can't remember the words, but anyway, it's Saturday night and I'm being silly, or Sunday morning, however you want to look at it. But this is random. Just wanted to ask if anybody's watching, if you remember this in my age group. And I have not been able to track this down, and I am going to get to the bottom of this mystery. Does anybody remember a show called Up and Coming? It was on Channel 11 PBS in Chicago. I believe it used to come on after school. And I'm sure people I grew up with in the neighborhood remember it. We talked about it before. I've talked about it with at least one friend of mine. But there is like no where you can find this show. I should actually tweet. Cindy Herron from En Vogue was in the show. That girl group from the 90s. I'm sure they may still be touring, but Cindy Herron, one of the members of En Vogue, was in the show. Also, who was in the show was, I believe his name is Christophe St. John. Sadly, he's passed away, but he was in the show. I want to say Stoney Jackson was in it. Somebody help me. I want to say he was in it. But that was nostalgia too. That show, I am going to find that show. I am going to have to find who were the directors were. We need to see that show again. A lot of times though, when you see those shows again or you watch it again, you usually saying to yourself, this was so corny. It was, I don't think it would be. Maybe it was relevant then, not now, but I love those shows. 70s, Good Times, Jeffersons. So long ago, it's hard to remember some stuff. I want to talk about this too. I think in the early 80s, we're talking possibly 81, 82, where I lived at, they were doing some, building a new building. They were actually tearing down a building across the street. Like, I lived here, now I would be here, and across the street diagonal, they were building what they called the mall. I think they still call it that now. It's called the mall. There was a building where it was, but they knocked it down. and it was called the mall. So they had like chairs and tables that were planted into, of course, made of cement or whatever, and they were connected. And this was new. This was like so. Again, I also used to stay up really late, like 9 or 10. I don't know where everybody else was, but I used to be up to like 3 o'clock in the morning. So I would look out my window. I stayed on the first floor, and diagonally could see the mall. So mind you, it's midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning. I'm up. I got the window open, and I witnessed like the birth of like breakdancing and hip hop. Because mind you, this is probably 80, 81, 80. No, this is probably like 82, 81, whatever. And I used to watch the guys with like the cardboard, the music, out there dancing. I don't think it was like rap. Maybe it was rapping. I just remember the dancing. And one of my good friend Zach. Zach is like a brother to me. One of my good friends, Zach, was one of the guys out there who was out there, and there was some other people. I don't remember who they were, but I just even then, or looking back, realized how monumental that was to see the birth of an art form like that. To actually look at it and view it and see it. Just was something else to grow up and just every night I think I used to look out there hoping to catch them. So out of all the decades, I love the 80s. Out of all the decades, and like I said, I'm gonna do it my top 20 80s top TV shows, but top songs period, because those are like the soundtrack. I think, as a matter of fact, I might go listen to some 80s music tonight. If my husband will not talk about it too bad, so I can hear every line. But yeah, I love the 80s. This was just a late night rambling. I just wanted to put something out there and see how everybody else felt about their decades, or what decades were important to you. What do you remember? Did it leave a time stamp on you? The 80s, I will forever love the 80s. Okay, that is all. Just wanted to say that. And have a nice time. Have a nice day. Have a nice time. Whatever you're going to do. And I will see you next time. Bye.